You know, years after we came through the Vietnam experience, I remember thinking, you know, we kept asking during that period, are we winning? And when you have to ask the question, generally you're not winning, because victory is always obvious. Do you think we're winning now?
I would say that we're winning. I don't think we're losing either, but I think we're seeing an ebb and flow and largely a stalemated situation in the war against ISIS.
I mean, good for Schieffer, right? I mean, if you don't see that you're winning, how do you know you assume you're losing? But the president said last week that we're not losing. Gary Berntsen, a retired 20-year CIA clandestine officer, author of Jawbreaker, The Attack on Bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, a personal account by the CIA's key field commander. And he's also the senior national security advisor for Concerned Veterans for America. Gary, let me ask you, are we winning? How can we possibly be winning? And how can we possibly at the same time also, be not losing when we've seen all the gains made by ISIS?
Clearly, ISIS is making significant gains at the expense of the Iraqi government, who President Obama said was ready to defend itself. The loss of Ramadi last week was striking. ISIS used, vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices at several key locations, which frightened the Iraqi forces, and they fled the city. The Iraqi forces were at least 5 times the size of the ISIS people that were attacking them, and they abandoned their posts and they fled, which was just shameful and disgraceful. And finally, a State Department spokesman made it clear, and Ashton Carter actually came out and stated that the Iraqis had lacked the will to fight. And it took 7 years here, but we've actually had several spokespersons from the White House actually make an honest statement.
Yeah, it is outrageous. Yet, now tell me about the chances that the Iraqis have to retake Ramadi, because we have reports of fighting and airstrikes near Ramadi as supposedly, and I don't know where these Iraqi soldiers come from. I mean, most of them I've seen and we've seen have run away and left their equipment, but now they're mounting some kind of assault to take back some of the positions they lost. Is that going to happen?
As a basic principle of warfare, you want to have 3 times the number of people attacking a position. So they couldn't defend the position. And they couldn't defend the position. Now they're going to assault and take it? I don't think so. And what this also highlights is their total inability to take Mosul, which is a much larger city, vastly larger city. And so what we've seen is it is clear to the world now that the policy that the administration has had, and its statements that Iraq is ready to do all this, is all utter nonsense. That the early withdrawal of Iraq has brought by the Obama administration has brought on a collapse of the Iraqi security forces, and they are incapable of defending even against the smallest of forces.
Right, and of course that goes back to this administration not wanting to reach agreement on the SOFA, and then being able to say, as they've said, well, the Iraqis didn't want to sign the agreement, they wanted too much, blah, blah, blah. As soon as there was any pushback or any disagreement, we turned and said, okay, no agreement, and we're out of here, and that's what Obama wanted. Let me ask you about this now, and this is very unsettling. A bulletin from the FBI and Homeland Security over the weekend that basically says U.S. analysts are overwhelmed by all the pro-ISIS social media chatter or goings-on or correspondence. And they've also warned at the same time that military targets and other high-profile celebrations, here in the U.S. and maybe games, events can be targeted in the near future. How serious do you believe that this warning that went out over the weekend from the FBI is?
I think it's something that you have to take very seriously. And if you look at the Al Jazeera poll this weekend that they did of their watchers, 81% of them stated that they supported what ISIS is doing, which demonstrates a real weakness in support of those Gulf Arab regimes and these Arab regimes across the entire Arab world. It looks like we're getting to a point where the public is sick of the corruption, is not happy with the performance of those governments, and the Obama administration's moves years ago, that which essentially helped fuel fire to the Arab Spring turned into a jihadist spring. We have lost control of the Middle East, and it is in flames now. In 25 years of my career doing national security work, I've never seen such poor management of national security affairs, a failure to understand by those who were in the White House. It is frightening.
All right, but Gary, in closing here, do you believe that it's failure to understand, or do you believe there's a purpose here, and a lot of this is not by accident?
I think it's probably a combination of those things. I would say this, though. I just for people who watch the Middle East across the board, if I was an Israeli, I would be very, very frightened of what the Obama administration will do with the UN in its last 3 to 6 months. I would be very frightened that they will cut deals against the state of Israel to create something on the West Bank which will be difficult to turn back.
Yep, I could not agree with you more. I do not trust him, notwithstanding the fact that he spoke at a synagogue over the weekend and said that he's been called a first Jewish president. It made me sick to listen to that. Anyway, Gary, thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. We're coming back, folks, with the assistant online editor for Commentary Magazine, Noah Rothman, in his new position. We'll be here. Don't you go away.